Many people notice something about themselves after spending time with others. The conversation might have gone well, no conflict, no obvious tension, and yet when the interactions is over, they feel unusually tired. And sometimes the exhaustion appears immediately, other times it shows up later in the day. And you might find yourself wondering, why do I feel drained after social interactions? Hello, everyone. I'm Janine Naus, your grief and trauma relief specialist. I'm really glad you're here with me today, whether you're joining me live or watching the replay. Today, we're going to explore why social interactions can sometimes feel exhausting and what the nervous system may be responding to during those moments. Now, for many people, conversations involve more than exchanging words. They also involve reading the emotional environment, tone of voice, facial expressions, subtle shifts in energy. And when the nervous system is paying close attention to those signals, social interaction can require far more energy than it appears from the outside. For many people, the nervous system becomes highly skilled at noticing subtle cues in the environment. And it's a small shift in tone, or perhaps a pause in the conversation, or even a change in facial expression. Now, these signals might seem minor, but the body can register them very quickly. And over time, the nervous system begins doing something almost automatically. It scans the room. It monitors emotional reactions. It evaluates whether the environment feels steady or uncertain. Now, this kind of awareness often develops for a reason. See, in earlier environments, such as our childhood, paying attention to emotional signals may have helped prevent conflict or tension. So the system learned that staying alert to relational changes was important. But the more signals your nervous system tracks during a conversation, the more energy that interaction requires. So from the outside, the conversation may appear simple. Inside your nervous system, however, there may be constant evaluation happening in the background. And that evaluation can be tiring. So there's another layer to this pattern that many people often overlook. During conversations, some individuals are not only listening to words, they are also asking internal questions. Did that response land well? Did I say something wrong? Is the other person comfortable? Now, these questions may not appear as clear thoughts. Instead, they may appear as subtle tension or alertness in the body. Now, the nervous system begins balancing several things at once: listening, responding, monitoring reactions. So, maintaining emotional stability in the interaction. All of this takes time. All of this takes energy. So, even if the conversation itself is pleasant, the nervous system may still feel fatigued afterward because it has been working continuously beneath the surface. Now, here is something important to notice. Feeling drained after social interactions does not necessarily mean you dislike people or connection. Often it simply means your nervous system has been working harder than others might realize during those moments. And when people begin noticing this pattern, their first instinct is often to criticize themselves. And they might think that they should be more social or that conversation should feel easier. But the nervous system does not change through pressure. It changes through awareness and gradual adjustment. And one helpful step is simply recognizing how much emotional information your system may be processing during conversations. And then from there, you can begin creating small moments of calm. So, for example, taking a quiet pause after a long conversation, allowing time between social activities, or noticing when your system begins to feel overloaded. Now, these small adjustments help the nervous system return to balance. And then over time, as your body experiences more interactions where emotional signals remain steady and predictable, the need for constant monitoring may gradually decrease. And when that happens, social interactions often begin to feel lighter, not because people have changed, but because the nervous system no longer needs to stay on high alert. So, if social interactions sometimes leave you feeling unusually tired, it may reflect a nervous system that learned to stay attentive to emotional signals in the environment. That awareness may have been important earlier in life, but when the system continues scanning at that level during everyday conversations, it can quietly use a great deal of energy. Understanding that pattern often changes how people review their own reactions. So instead of seeing exhaustion as a personal flaw, it becomes easier to recognize the deeper learning behind the response. I want to thank you for spending this time with me during today's healing step session and reflecting on a pattern that many people experience without fully understanding why. And if this topic brought up questions about your own nervous system responses during social interactions, and you'd like a calm space to explore those patterns more personally, I offer healing clarity sessions. Now, these are gentle one on one conversations. It's a steady space to better understand how patterns develop and how new responses can gradually emerge. If that feels helpful, you can learn more through the link below. I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes today to explore something that quietly shapes many everyday interactions. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.